So there are three types of binomials that I will expect you to be able to factor. Let's go over them right now. The first one that you'll see most often is the difference of squares. So difference in math means subtraction. And squares, I mean perfect squares. For example, a squared minus b squared. This will factor into a plus b times a minus b. These two binomials here are actually called conjugates because they have the same two terms, but the sign in the middle is different. So you go from this binomial, two terms, difference of, these are both squared, factors into a plus b times a minus b. If you would FOIL that all out, you would get exactly a squared minus b squared. The outer inner cancel, and so you just get the first two terms multiplied and the last two terms multiplied. So if I were to put an example in there, 4x squared minus 49. So 4x squared, that whole amount is the same thing as 2x quantity squared, and then 49 is 7 squared. So if we just look at the pattern, A is currently being played by 2x, B is being played by 7, the difference is taken care of in the title. So this would factor into A plus B times A minus B. Now usually I don't do this step here where I identify A and B. I just go right to writing down the factored form. So difference of cubes. In this case, difference means the same thing, subtraction. But now I'm looking for two perfect cubes instead of two perfect squares. So example, A cubed minus b cubed. So for cubes, these have a similar pattern. The difference of cubes and the sum of cubes are going to have the same pattern. They each have a binomial times a trinomial when they're factored. The binomial looks a whole lot like what it is that you are factoring, a minus b, just without the cubes. And then the trinomial, so there's our bi, and now we need to get the tri. The trinomial I get by building it off of the binomial. So I'm going to have the first term squared, and I'm going to have that last term squared positive. So I'm going to have an a squared and a plus b squared. But I need a middle term, and I get that by changing the sign, plus, and then multiplying the two pieces, ab. So a cubed minus b cubed factors into a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So now you have to remember what all your perfect cubes are. There was that worksheet that I had you do, so you can look on there to refresh your memory. So if I have, let's say, 27x cubed minus 8y cubed. If we go through that exercise we did with the squares and figure out what a and b would have to be, so I need to write something in this set of parentheses so that if I cubed that whole something, I would get 27x cubed back. The answer for that's 3x. And then the same thing over here. If I cubed 2y, I would get 8y cubed. So now I know that a is equal to 3x and b is equal to 2y. So I can follow the pattern. 27x cubed minus 8y cubed factors into, the bi is 3x minus 2y, same sign. The trinomial I get by squaring the first term, so I square 3x, 9x squared. My last term, I square the 2y, 4y squared. And then that middle term, I change the sign, so instead of minus, I'm going to have plus, and then I multiply these two together. 3x times 2y, so that will be 6xy. And there's my answer. If you multiply those two together by picking a runner and taking all your terms through, everybody's going to cancel except for a 27x cubed and a negative 8y cubed. If you're really bored, give it a shot. So the sum of cubes, sum means addition, so a cubed plus b cubed. The binomial, again I said it's the similar pattern to the difference of cubes. You get a binomial that has the same sign as what you're factoring, so a plus b, and then the trinomial, square the first, square the last, so a squared plus b squared, and to get that middle term, change the sign and multiply those two pieces together. So let's try x cubed plus 1,000. So I'm not going to do the a equals b equals this time. We're just going to try to figure it out. So the binomial, think of it as taking the cubed root. So the cubed root of x cubed is x. Same sign in the binomial, so plus. Cubed root of 1,000, what times what equals 1,000? That's a 10. And then we build the trinomial. Square the first, square the last, change the sign, multiply the two. So x plus 10 times x squared minus 10x plus 100. So those are the three patterns for trinomials that you'll need to remember. There really is no way to just sort of figure it out by looking. You have to memorize the patterns.